Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I am going to talk about how to set a VS Code to compile and execute C and C++ in Windows OS. I have created a separate video for Ubuntu and its link is available in the description of this video. We need to install the Visual Studio Code. For that, click on this link and the Visual Studio Code website open. Click on this download link. Now the new window comes. Download from this link. Now the download is completed. We can install the VS Code. Now the installation is completed. I am clicking finish. Now we need to install MinGW to get the GCC and G++ compilers. So we can download the MinGW from this link. Download it. Now the MinGW download is complete. We can install it. Now click continue. Now installation manager open. We need to select the required packages. I am selecting this developer toolkit and marking it as for installation. And I am selecting this MinGW base. And I am selecting GCC and G++. Now for installation, click on this installation button and apply changes. Click on apply. Now the installation is completed. Click this close button and close this window also. Now the MinGW is installed in this folder. Now we can create a VS Code project. I will use a sample calculator application using C to explain the process. Also, I will explain what are the changes required to compile and execute in C++. For that, I am creating a folder named calculator. I have opened the folder and I am opening a command prompt. And inside the command prompt, I am typing code space dot. Now the VS Code window is open. I am closing this and I am selecting I trust the others. Now I am adding a C file named main.c. Now a pop-up came which recommend to install C and C++ extension pack. I am installing it. The extension pack installation is completed. I am closing this window. Now I have added the required source file for the calculator application. Now we can build and execute the code. For that, we can make use of two files, task.json and launch.json. In task.json, we can define how we can build the code, and the launch.json will help to execute and debug the code. First, we can add the task.json file. For that, press Ctrl+Shift+P. Now type task and select configure task. Since we are using GCC compiler, select the compiler under MinGW. Now a new task.json file is created under this VS Code folder and it is pre-filled with some settings. We can modify the task.json file as per our requirement. We don't need to modify this type and label section, and in command section the GCC is already selected, so we don't need to modify that, and this arg section contains the argument to that GCC compiler. This flag is added to use and see color code for the error and warning messages. If it is not required, you can remove it. This "-g" flag will generate the debug symbols. Here we will specify the source file we are going to compile. This "-o" flag indicates the next argument will be the executable file path. So we can specify the executable name here. Now we can see this file directory name variable is given as the path to the executable, and this variable holds the path to the file opened in the IDE while executing the build operation. So this will result the executable will generate in that particular folder. For example, if we are executing the build operation from the art.c, this executable will be generated inside this art folder. So in order to avoid this and generate the executable in a specific folder, we can change this variable to workspace folder. The workspace folder variable will hold the path of our project. In our case, it is the calculator folder, and I am giving a relative path to build folder. so that a new folder build will be generated and executable will be generated in that build folder. I am giving executable name as calc. Now we can add the source files which need to be compiled. Here we can give the relative path to the workspace folder. Now the source files are added. Now we can create the launch.json file. For that, click this run and debug button and click this create a launch.json file option and select this C++ Windows option. Now we can select the Windows launch option. Here we can enter the executable path. We can change the current working directory to workspace folder. Now we can build and execute the code. For building the code, press Ctrl Shift B. Select this option and we can see our executable is generated under the build folder. For executing the code, click on this build and debug button and we can see a Windows launch option is available now and click this button. We can see our code is executing inside the debug console. We can change it to the external terminal by changing this console option and changing it to external terminal. If we execute again, the code will be executed inside the external terminal. Now to debug the code, we need to add additional configuration. So in launch.json file, click on this add configuration option and select GDB launch. Here you can enter the executable path again. This current working directory can be changed to workspace folder. We can change this external console option to true so that the execution will happen in the external console. We can change this debugger path corresponding to the MinGW GDB path. Save the file. Now we can add the breakpoint in the required places. And here we can see a new option called GDB launch available. Select that and click this button. Now we can see the breakpoint is hit. We can debug accordingly. Now the output is printed inside the external terminal. We can enter the values here and execute the code. So that's all about how to execute C and C++ in VS Code for Windows OS. If you feel the video is useful for you, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.